my hair has always been like a little bit weird. Like, it wasn't exactly curly, but it was definitely not straight. And then for so many years together, I've relied on heat styling it whenever I wanted to look pretty and presentable. So I would either use like a straightening iron or curling tongs all of the time to look put together. Ever since the last 1.5 months, I have begun to embrace my natural texture and learn how to deal with my hair and how to take care of it and how to style it with just products without any heat whatsoever, to give me like beautiful definition, to give me volume, and to also keep my frizz to the minimum. It has been pretty life-changing, so I am going to talk about it today and share my routine with you guys. And in case you guys have like textured hair that you've never really known what to do with, I really hope this video helps you all. Hi guys, my name is Magali, and if it's your first time on my channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I make regular videos on beauty, fashion and lifestyle, and today is going to be a hair video. But what I'm going to talk about today, my recent hair journey, kind of feels really life-changing for me, because for the first time in my life, I have actually ditched all heat and I'm managing to make my hair look good, and I'm managing to feel confident and pretty in my natural texture. So today's video is going to be slightly long because I'm going to talk a little bit about my hair journey also and how my hair has been until this point, and then I will talk you guys through and demonstrate my entire current routine and all of the products that I'm using. Also, if you would like to skip to any specific section, feel free to do so. I'm going to leave timestamps in the description bar below, so you can only see the routine or anything like that. But I am very excited to share this with you guys. So yeah, let's get started. So let's talk hair journey. I feel like this is important because everyone's hair type is just really different, and until you keep heat styling it, it's possible that you don't really notice or know what type of hair you have exactly. It's only when you start beginning to style it naturally that you really need to delve into understanding your very own hair. Hair is very diverse in type and texture, and I think it's also very natural for one person's hair to change in type and texture many times over their life. It just happens. So when I was born and when I was a little baby,
my baby girl leaving me so soon,
I had really curly hair, which makes sense because I think my dad also used to have really curly hair when he was younger. He even rocked an afro at one time, so it was like borderline kinky. And then my mom had baby hair. As I grew a little bit and got to like 2 years, 3 years old, my hair started straightening out a lot, like on its own. People thought my mom did something, but she really didn't. It changed and it got really straight, almost poker straight. And it was a little bit fine at that time. It wasn't super thick or coarse. It was very shiny and very silky and slippery, so much so that whenever my mom used to tie my hair, the hair tie used to sometimes just slip off my hair because that's just what it was like. Then I kind of got to puberty, so around the age of 10, 11, when puberty is creating a lot of changes and a lot of havoc in everybody's life, my hair also started changing, and I think that is when it became close to what it is right now. I'm in my late 20s, and it got a lot thicker, it got a lot like coarser, and it got prone to frizz. Just at that point, I found my hair really difficult to deal with. I didn't really know what to do with my hair. It was always a little bit on the shorter side only, like this. And this was the time that I won't say I started hating my hair, but I didn't love it either, that's for sure. I didn't feel confident in it, and it always just made me a little bit insecure. That's a point of time when we are getting insecure about a lot of things. Like, it was a little bit like a broom or a nest or something, you know. It definitely wasn't curly, but it was a lot to deal with, and every time like I used to comb my hair, it looked worse, which makes sense actually, because now I know that if you have wavy or curly hair, it's the best to never comb it when it's dry. And at this point, I think might give Indian moms a heart attack because they stand behind combing your hair, but really, if you have textured hair, only comb your hair when it's wet and just don't comb it when it's dry because it's gonna open out and look way worse. So that was what I was dealing with for some time, and then a couple of years later I got to college, and when I got to college, at some point I got my hair rebonded, which is similar to, I think, what is called relaxing abroad. It was something that was very much on trend in India that time. It was new and everybody used to get it done. It used to make your hair so flat and fine and poker straight. And now when I look back at those old pictures, I do kind of cringe because that's not what we like now. But I have to say, back then I loved my hair when it was rebonded. It was just a lot easier to manage. I could just get up and go in the morning, and I would just wash it, and like it would dry on its own and look straight on its own. Unconsciously, a lot of us girls with wavy or curly hair, at some point of time in our lives, we have vied for having straight hair because it's just considered the ideal of beauty, and it's also really easy to deal with. So if you've ever watched an Indian shampoo ad, especially the ones that used to come like when I was younger, growing up, the retro ads, the ideal hair after using the shampoo is always like straight and silky and unreal. Nobody's hair looks like that, and there's so much of trickery used to make that hair look like it has a life of its own. And even in movies, it's always pushed the idea forward that if you have like bigger voluminous curly hair or wavy hair, it's like untidy and not beautiful. Princess Diaries was one of my favorite movies growing up, and Mia's hair before, right now, I think it was so gorgeous. It was like big, but then when she's starting her transition from being like a regular person into a princess, they give her a drastic makeover and they just relax all of her beautiful waves and volume that she had. Like, I think that big hair is gorgeous now, but they make it into this like normal straightish hair. And I watched that movie a lot growing up, so I think I have to admit that, Gary Marshall, you're kind of responsible for making this teenage girl not like her hair at one point of time, and it has been a journey to getting here and loving my hair. Yeah, I got my hair rebonded a few times and loved it back then, but at some point I was like, I can't keep doing this because it's just an insane amount of chemicals each time, and it completely alters the look of your hair. And I also kind of got bored of the look, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna like get back to my natural hair. Transitioning from that completely relaxed rebonded hair back to natural hair always looks so weird when your roots are coming through, and I remember I cut my hair really short to deal with my hair, but I got back to my natural hair. My hair type was always something that confounded me because I always said I would have loved to have curly hair, but it wasn't curly. It just used to sometimes dry naturally wavy, but then I live in Mumbai, which is a very humid city. Right now in monsoon, we regularly have humidity levels of, I think, 90 and above. Once it dried up completely, the waves would disappear and it would just go into like frizz, I guess. Even if you watch some of my get ready with me videos before I actually heat style my hair, you can see what my texture is like. It looked bland and boring and frizzy, and so that's why I felt I always had to tame it with a lot of heat. And I have used different heat stylers over the years. I have a straightener, I have a curler, I have a waver, I have a couple of hot brushes, and I thought that that was what I was going to have to do for the rest of my life, since I was cursed with my hair type, just because it never really looked nice on its own until I used heat. Some point last year, I started randomly getting a few comments on my videos, like two of you gals especially started mentioning the curly girl technique to me, and I didn't really know what the curly girl technique was at that time, but I looked it up, and it comes from a handbook, and it's basically a whole philosophy and a set of rules and guidelines for looking after curly hair, how to wash it, how to style it, how to maintain it, etc. And at first I was like, okay, my hair is not curly, so I don't think this is for me. I kind of kept reading it, and it is a little bit intimidating at first, curly girl, because there are a lot of do's and don'ts and everything. I got a little bit overwhelmed with it, but I realized that all good things are gonna have a little bit of a learning curve, you know. Even when I started like practicing with makeup, I was pretty bad in the beginning, and now I've gotten to a place where I'm happy with how I do makeup. And it was the same thing while I was switching from disposable menstrual products such as pads and tampons to the menstrual cup. Like, I was very intimidated by the cup. It seemed really difficult, but then I made that effort to switch to it, and it is just the best thing ever. So I said maybe there is something to Curly Girl, and I had my hair shorter then. I kind of tried the techniques that they have outlined. I didn't actually go and buy all new products, but I just kind of worked with whatever I had, and I tried it out, and I was shook because I thought my hair looked so good. It actually got a lot of texture and it got a lot of definition. Like, it actually had waves on its own, and I was surprised that behind my frizzy hair, like, there were these waves hiding, sort of. Like, that's kind of just a metaphor, but I just didn't know that my hair like had it in me to look like this. Did that sentence even make sense? My current routine is not exactly Curly Girl because, as I mentioned, it's very restrictive. There are like certain ingredients that you can't touch. I think you can't have SLS and you can't have silicone in your products, and I just had a lot of hair products already, so I didn't want to go reading labels for everything and buying all new products. So I did learn a lot like of techniques and how to do things by reading Curly Girl, but I do not follow Curly Girl. I would recommend, if you're just starting to get into natural hair, like, watch some videos, read some blogs. There's a really good girl community internationally as well as in India. There are a few good channels, and it'll just really help you understand basics. And I think it's also very validating to see a lot of like gorgeous girls with wavy hair, curly hair. It'll help you feel good about your own hair because that's the effect it had on me. So even though I tried kind of styling my hair naturally last year and I loved the result, I just felt like it was not practical for me to switch to this full time because it seemed like a lot of work. I just felt like I was really busy. But then of course 2020 happened, the pandemic, the lockdowns, the staying at home, and I realized this was just the perfect time for me to go deeper into natural hair and learn more about my hair and feel more comfortable with styling it naturally regularly. So for the whole month of June 2020, I swore off of heat completely. I literally folded up all of my hot tools, kept them away, and said I am going to learn how to do this, you know. So every wash day I found some of the other minor issue, like I have no root volume or my hair is too crunchy or something, and then I always fixed it with the next wash. So I feel like I have a really good routine that works for me, and some of the tips I'm going to share might help you guys as well if you're planning to just start out. Now we are quickly going to talk about the 4 categories that will probably help you understand your own hair better, if it's wavy or curly. If you guys are already following a wavy or curly hair routine or you follow Curly Girl method, you definitely know these, but this video is aimed more at beginners. The 4 categories are curl pattern, hair porosity, hair density, and hair width. I absolutely have to give credit to black women because black women came up with these methods to categorize your hair under, and I think we wouldn't be where we are in the natural hair community if not for the black women who set the foundation and kind of set the blueprint for everything. So curl pattern is basically like the shape of your curls, like how big they are, how loose or tight they are. 2 stands for wavy, 3 is curly, and 4 is coily, and then you have A, B, and C within those 3 categories. I'm definitely a wavy girl. I don't really know exactly where my hair stands, but it's probably a 2A or a 2B, which are the more looser waves. If I keep at this and keep taking care of my hair, keep avoiding heat, I might go up to a 2C as well, but we don't really know. It's very normal for everyone's head to have different curl patterns on the same head. Like the hair at the sides is actually naturally more straighter because I've been straightening it and all, but then the hair at the back has a stronger curl pattern. So don't get too bogged down by these. This is just to help you know what kind of methods might work for you better, and to help you follow like different vloggers or vloggers who have similar hair to yours. But this is not the be all end all of taking care of your hair. It's just a loose category to help you figure out what type of hair you have. Then porosity just basically has low porosity or high porosity, and it talks about how much your hair reacts to moisture around it. I knew at once that I had really high porosity hair because my hair reacts to humidity in a very extreme way. Like, it definitely frizzes out and puffs up. So if you guys also have similar experiences whenever you're in humid climate, then you definitely have high porosity hair. But if the humidity in the air and the extra moisture doesn't have an impact on your hair, then you have low porosity hair. The third and fourth category are hair density and hair width. Hair density just refers to like how much hair you have on your scalp. So you're supposed to look at your scalp, or obviously have someone look at it for you, and if there's a lot of hair packed on there without much space in between, you have high density. Then there's like normal density, and there's low density. And finally, hair width refers to the thickness of each of your strands of hair. You could have fine hair, which is obviously the thinnest, then there's medium and coarse. My hair density is probably like medium to high, and when it comes to hair width, I definitely have coarser hair, which means it feels a lot thicker and it also feels a lot drier, but it's kind of more hardy hair. It's not super delicate and it doesn't break as easily. I am gonna put a link in the description if you guys would like to read more about these things in detail, because I have just given you like the littlest introduction. Don't be freaked out if you don't know immediately where your hair stands in all these categories. As I said, it's not that important and it's a little intimidating at first, but slowly you will figure it out better. Now for the final section of this video, I'm gonna go over my complete routine from wash to styling to it ending up looking like this. Even if you follow the exact same routine as me, your hair won't turn out exactly like this, because this is a routine that helps you form your own curls. So if you have textured hair, your curls might be bigger, they might be smaller, you might be having like more round curls or just waves. Whatever, your hair won't turn out like this, but it will help you take care of your own hair and reveal its own natural texture. And I'm gonna talk about all of the products that I use and link everything in the description bar below. Also, you know, you might not have the same results with these products. I'm trying to just provide a starting point. So our routine starts with a wash, of course, and I wash my hair every 2 to 3 days. Most of the time I have been known to occasionally stretch it out to 4 also. Wavy and curly hair actually benefits the lesser you wash it, and I don't think textured hair should be washing their hair every day ever, but of course it's definitely a personal choice kind of thing. This is just what I do. I have an IGTV video which I'm gonna link below, which shows how I go through a hair wash. It's pretty simple, but I've learned some techniques and demonstrated them in the video, how to best wash your hair, so you might want to check that out. The shampoo and conditioner that I currently use are the same things that I showed in that IGTV video. It's the ʟSoཻ BC Bonicure lineup, the dark purple one, which is from their Keratin Smooth lineup, and it's supposed to be for unmanageable hair. The shampoo is really interesting because it's a micellar shampoo and it's really good at cleansing your scalp in a gentle way, and then the mask of course adds a lot of moisture back. So if you have wavy or curly hair, you don't always have to buy products that are formulated for wavy hair or for curly hair, because they're not always that easy to find. You should start looking for products that are more nourishing, that are formulated for dry hair or damaged hair, because this is likely to work best for textured hair types. And you want a shampoo that is sort of mild and will cleanse your scalp nicely without drying it out. You want to concentrate on washing your scalp and not putting too much of shampoo on your hair lengths and ends, because when you massage your scalp, your hair does get washed properly, trust me, and too much of shampoo on your hair is going to dry it out. It's not going to do any good. When it comes to conditioner, go for something rich and creamy. The extra hydration is always good for textured hair types, and your hair will just thank you. So I definitely purchase more hair masks than conditioners because they are a supercharged form of conditioner that Wavy hair loves. Another great wash tip for people with textured hair is please avoid using a towel on your hair, because normal towels are going to severely increase the amount of frizz you have. I absolutely swear by this hair turban thing because I think it's just the coolest, and I've really found that my routine has improved ever since I've incorporated this turban. So I actually have two so that I'm never without it even while one's in the wash. If you don't want to buy a hair turban, then you can also wipe your hair with any old cotton t-shirt, because it's way better than towel, which has those little, like, I don't know what those things on a towel are called, like not bristles, but you know what I mean, those little things. And when you put them over your hair, it actually like raises the cuticle and raises the static, increases the frizz. You just want to sort of gently use your cloth to dry your hair, but you shouldn't be wiping it up and down ever. I prefer to keep my hair turban on for around 10 to 15 minutes after I step out of the shower, because you do need to style your hair when it's wet. Some people prefer when it's really soaking, dripping wet, but I find that a little irritating and unnecessary for me personally. So I like having that turban on just to sort of absorb the excess water and to absorb that water that's just going to keep on dripping off, and then I will start up with my routine. But if you have curlier hair than me, you might want to directly dive into your routine as soon as you're finished your shower. So the minute I open up the turban, you can kind of see that like my hair already has a little bit of its curl pattern showing, which I love. And the first thing I'm gonna do is use this parting comb to part my hair, and I'm not parting it on its regular side. This is a little trick I do to help me with volume. Since I usually do a left side part, I'm gonna part my hair carefully on the right, and you guys will see why really soon. And I actually use two products to style my hair after a wash. So first I'm using a Bee Blunt curl cream. If you have textured hair type, you will find that cream after wash conditioners are going to work best on your hair. Avoid serums and oil type things because your hair really will love cream. So I really like this hair cream. I think it works well, but I might try other ones after I've finished up with this. I'm just taking like 2 or 3 pumps and working it in section by section. So earlier I used to rake the product into my hair, which is like where you use your fingers sort of like a garden rake or a fork and just distribute the product in there. But now what I'm doing, this is sort of called the praying hands motion in the curly girl community, and I'm just going to make sure I have this like on every part of my hair. If you've been using less product before, you'll know that in a natural hair routine you're probably going to need like a lot more product. When I first started seeing the amount of product people put in their hair was a little intimidating, but it's really normal, and you want to choose good products that you're happy with, so you know you won't mind putting a lot of it in your hair. After I finished up with the cream, the next super important thing that I'm going in with is hair gel. I never even knew that hair gel was a product that like women with longer hair use on the regular, because I thought it was more of a guy thing and more when you want to style shorter hair. But hair gel is so important in the wavy and curly community. I think there are other ways also that you can style your curls, but this is one of the best and easiest. I'm using this Arata gel, which I absolutely love. This is an Indian brand and they do like really clean formulations. It's a flaxseed based gel and I just love it. I'm already on my second tube and I have my third backup ready. I really trust what they put in their gels and I think I will be using this in the future as well. The gel that you see me pouring out right now is sort of enough for one side of my hair, but it's still a little bit less. Like I could have put a little bit more. So I just am applying that throughout my hair in a similar praying hands motion, just making sure to work it all in. And the next thing we're gonna do is use my really cool brush to detangle as well as style my hair. Like, I am doing two things in one. This is the Tangle Teaser Wet Detangler brush. It's a little bit expensive, but I think it's absolutely worth the investment. People with curlier and kinkier hair types like using this brush in the shower to detangle their hair when they're conditioning, because that's the only time you should comb your hair. Since my hair is just wavy, I don't detangle in the shower. I come out and detangle it now while it's still wet. And the brush is also going to help distribute all of the product really nicely throughout like my head. So one tip is, make sure you don't hold the brush like this facing downwards, because it's going to lay the hair flat on your scalp, and you really want volume. The first few times I did this whole wash routine, all of the hair on my scalp was just stuck down and it looked really stupid, like it didn't look great. So you want to lift the hair from your scalp, so you use the brush from below and just keep doing this lifting motion everywhere, and just keep working this brush through your entire hair. You'll see that this brush has 2 layers of bristles. It will make sure all of your hair has product, and it will sort of help your hair be more defined. And I really think my hair has also improved since I've started incorporating this brush in on a regular basis. In case you don't want to get this brush, you never want to use a fine tooth comb. There is another really famous brush by Denman that curly girls love. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm just putting it out there. I'll mention it in the description bar. If you don't want to get that, also I would recommend just using a normal plastic comb that's really wide tooth, or just use a kind of wide toothed neem comb. I was using that for a bit. It's made of neem wood, and it also does a really good job. After you've brushed all of your hair and distributed the product, this is one of the more important steps. You go in and you start scrunching your hair, exactly as I'm doing now. So you open your palm, keep it at the bottom of like the length of your hair, and then sort of scrunch it upwards toward your scalp. I like to bend my neck also while I'm doing this to the side, so that the hair on the top of my head is not sticking onto the scalp. As I said, you want a little bit of root lift, so I'll just bend my neck on both sides while I'm scrunching to make sure the hair is not sticking to my scalp, and just keep on scrunching all of that hair really nicely. The motion is similar to like crumpling a piece of paper, but also be gentle, because this is your hair and you want to treat it lovingly. So yeah, just scrunch all of that hair, and now you're good to go. Once this is all done, please don't touch your hair. The more you fiddle with the curls, the more you're not going to get definition, and your frizz will increase. You want your hair while it's drying to just be as undisturbed as possible. That's how you're going to get the best result. And I dried my hair for around 1.5 hours. The drying time might be longer or shorter. It really depends on so many factors, like, you know, your hair thickness and the weather and all of that stuff. It's kind of hard sometimes to tell if curly or wavy hair is fully dry, because the outside and the bottom dries faster. So I like to just poke a finger in. I think I read this on a blog, and just keep poking your finger inside and touching the hair that's close to your scalp. If it's damp, obviously it's not ready. You need to wait for it to dry. If it feels dry inside, you are good to go. Remember when I said that I parted my hair on the opposite side, like on the ulta side? We're gonna just flip that hair back into place. I'm using my parting comb and gently taking my normal left side parting, and I just do this because I want a little bit of volume and lift on the roots. You run the risk of creating a little bit of frizz every time you manipulate your hair once it's styled, but I don't really mind that. I don't think a little bit of frizz is bad. I think it's really gorgeous. I'm looking to all of those like 90s divas like Mariah Carey and Jennifer Lopez and Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman and Runaway Bride with that big voluminous hair. So that's what I'm kind of after. Just sort of be gentle and flip it back to your regular parting, and I really love the lift that this little trick gives me. You'll notice one thing with gel is that your hair feels really like crunchy, and it doesn't feel nice. Even if you touch it, you can kind of hear a crunchiness. That's completely normal, because gel just helped keep your curls nice and protected while they dried, and that's the reason that you get definition and you don't get frizz. But now we need to do the final step of styling, which is called scrunch out the crunch. The first few times I used gel, I didn't do this, and my hair looked really weird because it looked all like pointy and hard. This step just takes a couple of minutes and your hair will look gorgeous and ready afterwards. So I like to put a little bit of a lightweight oil or serum on my hands, and you can just use any oil or serum that you already have. So I'm using the ʟΣβᴜᴜᴜ lavender and jasmine essential oil, and just a little bit of it, a few drops at a time. Spread it between your palms, and then kind of how you scrunched it in the beginning only, you just crunch it again, but even more gently. And while you're doing that, you will kind of almost hear the gel cast breaking, so your softness will come back and your hair will still have its curls in place, but it will feel like hair. It won't feel like, you know, stiff and crunchy the way gel makes it. It will still look really good and be protected from the weather and the elements. So just do it with all of your hair. You can see on the right side of my face, yes, I put a little extra gel, so it's a little extra crunchy, so I'm working a little bit extra at scrunching out the crunch. And then my hair is ready. It's all done and I absolutely love my results. And just imagine, these are results that I'm getting after a little over a month of no heat. I think if I keep at this, my results are gonna get way better, because that's just what happens to everybody once you start like not using heat and going to natural hair. The longer you keep at it, the better your hair is going to look. And I don't think I am going to swear off any kind of heat forever. It'll be nice to do once in a while, but I am going to embrace my hair for what it is more often. And I really love this because this look lasts the entire day and I don't have to put any kind of hairspray or anything. It doesn't open out, the curls don't fall. I'm just really happy with the way my hair has been looking lately. For the first time in my entire adult life, I feel confident and I feel pretty with hair that is my own, which hasn't been subjected to any kind of extreme heat. And I don't think that I'm going to swear off of heat styling forever, of course, because it's nice to change up your look sometimes, but I'm definitely not going to be so dependent on it, like not going to always turn to it whenever I want to look good. This has been a really long video, but if this sort of inspires even one of you guys to go on a similar journey that I did, and to kind of find your own natural texture and embrace it and learn how to handle it better, then that will make me so happy. I am no expert, of course, I am but a beginner myself. If you have any questions whatsoever, please leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities, or you know, we could just chat and you could tell me about like your own hair or just about anything. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys next time. Bye.